What is up, guys? Delboy here. So the Daily Star are reporting that Billy Joe Saunders has split from his trainer Dominic Ingle. Now this news has kind of come out of left field. Not many people were really expecting this news. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders has had his problems in the last 12 months or so, but the general feeling was that Dominic Ingle and Billy Joe Saunders were a really good fit together as a pair. The style of Billy Joe Saunders, kind of fits into that Ingle style, and they done some good work together. Ultimately, Dominic Ingle and the Ingle Gym got Billy Joe Saunders into the best shape of his career. Under Ingle, Billy Joe beat Willie Monroe Jr., who's a good fringe contender, and he also had a career best performance against David Lemieux, who was the mandatory challenger at the time when Billy Joe had that WBO belt. So, Ingle and Billy Joe, they done some good work together, and it seemed like a good match. And also Billy Joe, in the press anyway, he always kind of showered Dominic Ingle with a lot of praise. He only had good things to say about Dominic Ingle. So, the reason behind this split is unknown, but, it makes you wonder what's going on in that Ingle gym. I mean, recently they lost Kell Brook. Kell Brook left Dominic Ingle to go with a guy called John Fuchs, a new trainer, and now it's followed by Billy Joe Saunders jumping ship. Now, from what I've heard, the rumours are indicating that Billy Joe could go back to Ben Davison. Obviously, Ben Davison trains Tyson Fury. He's done a really good job with Tyson Fury. But before he even trained Tyson Fury, he actually trained Billy Joe Saunders for one fight. He trained Saunders for the Akavov fight. And, that was a fight where Billy Joe Saunders really struggled. He turned up in terrible shape. And after that night, Ben Davison actually came under quite a lot of criticism, from what I remember. But to his credit, since then, Ben Davison has gone on to make a bit of a name for himself. Like I said, he's done a tremendous job with Tyson Fury. He's taken Tyson Fury from being a fat slob to being a world-class heavyweight again. He's done a really good job there. And also, even after the Billy Joe Saunders debacle, Billy Joe actually sang Ben Davison's praises. He said Ben Davison was a really good trainer. He said Ben Davison knew a hell of a lot about the sport, but, that fight was more down to Billy Joe's mind just not being right. He was out of love with boxing, and basically, regardless of who was training him, he would have always struggled that night against Arthur Akavov. So, I mean, do we read too much into that previous fight with Ben Davison and Billy Joe Saunders? I don't think so, to be quite honest. I just think that was Billy Joe, being in a bad place, to be honest. But, in terms of styles, Billy Joe's similar to Tyson Fury. Billy Joe is a world-class middleweight. Ben Davison, he doesn't have to reinvent the wheel with Billy Joe Saunders. He just needs to keep him motivated, keep him fit, and hopefully he stays active throughout 2018. So, in terms of Ben Davison as a trainer, I don't think he's a bad fit for Billy Joe Saunders. I think there are a lot worse trainers out there for him to go to. But one thing we do need to consider, let's say Billy Joe does go with Ben Davison. Do you think having Billy Joe and Tyson Fury in the same gym is a good idea? Potentially, could they stray away from their objectives and, get a bit silly, for example? Because, those two guys have form for, going off the rails and, maybe doing things they shouldn't be doing. So, is having Billy Joe and Tyson Fury in the same gym a good idea? Can Ben Davison, motivate and keep both guys on the straight and narrow? That's quite a task for a mid-20s trainer. Ben Davison is young. Maybe he doesn't have the authority that an older, more experienced trainer would have. And as a result, maybe he struggles to, control both Tyson Fury and Billy Joe Saunders. Having both guys in the gym together, maybe it could be a recipe for disaster. I'm not saying that is going to be the case, but, given both guys' personalities, given both guys' track records over the years, you've got to consider that, and maybe that could be unhealthy for both fighters. But going forwards, me personally, regardless of who is training Billy Joe Saunders, I just want to see him stay active, because in recent times, Billy Joe hasn't given me fights I want as a boxing fan. Basically he wasted the whole of 2018. Well, he did waste the whole of 2018. He's got no interest in fighting Andrade. I see that as a bit of a duck. So right now, my feelings towards Billy Joe as a boxing fan are not that high. He's not giving me the fights I want as a boxing fan, so, I'm not really too hot on him right now. But, with a new trainer, maybe that can be seen as a new start, and hopefully it's the start of something positive. There's still no news on his fight date. On BoxRec, he's still scheduled to fight Shifat Isafi on the 13th of April, but apparently, there's a new announcement coming soon in regards to Billy Joe's future. Whether he's still fighting Isafi or not, I don't know, but, if he does fight him, it's certainly not going to be for the WBO super middleweight title as first advertised, because Gilberto Ramirez has come out and said he's not vacating that title and he would be willing to fight Billy Joe in the future. Maybe, Billy Joe could fight Isafi to become Ramirez's mandatory, and maybe down the line we could have Billy Joe versus Gilberto Ramirez. I would be happy with that. I don't really like a fight with Isafi, but if it leads to a Gilberto Ramirez fight, then I'd be for it. I think Billy Joe versus Gilberto Ramirez would be a really, really good fight actually, and it would get me excited as a boxing fan. But, Billy Joe's left Dominic Ingle. Is that a good move? Isn't it a good move? Who knows? And it's looking likely he is going back to Ben Davison. Share your thoughts below. What do you think of this news? Peace.